On May 8, 2026, the global intelligence community was blindsided when the United States Department of War, acting under a newly mandated government transparency directive, quietly unsealed a massive, decrypted cache of historical military sensor footage. For over a decade, these files had been locked behind layers of compartmentalized security, hidden away from public scrutiny and oversight. Yet, buried deep within these thousands of hours of digitized telemetry was a single, highly classified anomaly that immediately arrested the attention of researchers. The incident took place during the early morning hours of January 1, 2013, over a highly sensitive, restricted airspace corridor in the Middle East. Within the official logs, the encounter is scrubbed of operational context and cataloged under the deceptive, sterile designation of File DAO UAP PR38. The unedited military tracking data is nothing short of mesmerizing. Captured by a high-altitude surveillance platform's advanced optical array, the footage displays a ghostly, hyper-intense, glowing white anomaly that defies standard aerodynamic behavior. Instead of a solid metallic fuselage or a conventional aerodynamic signature, the object manifests on the digital displays as a perfectly symmetrical, 8-pointed star. It drifts erratically, shifting its velocity without any visible means of propulsion, pitching and banking through the sky while leaving a faint, pulsing thermal bloom trail in its wake. The object appears completely unaffected by the localized atmospheric drag or the extreme wind currents at that altitude. Predictably, the Pentagon's attached technical summary attempts to neutralize the discovery before it can spark a panic. Official analysts dismiss the entire event as an unexplained area of high thermal contrast, essentially arguing that a routine equipment artifact or an intense localized heat signature simply overwhelmed the digital sensors of the aircraft. However, when alternative historians, linguists, and independent researchers enhanced the raw, uncompressed frames of the 2013 video, they noticed a chilling structural detail that the military completely omitted from its report. The distinct geometric proportions of this airborne anomaly, characterized by 4 primary points intersected by 4 secondary, radiating energy lines, is not a digital glitch. It is a flawless, line-for-line mathematical match to the ancient star disk of Shamus, a sacred symbol carved into Mesopotamian stone monuments over 4,000 years ago. The realization sent shockwaves through the alternative research community. A modern, trillion-dollar U.S. military sensor had locked onto a shape identical to the physical manifestation of a Sumerian star god. According to the unsealed investigative files released by the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, this glowing, star-shaped craft was not a fleeting radar ghost or a momentary visual trick. It was actively tracked by a multi-million-dollar FLIR, forward-looking infrared sensor platform mounted on a high-altitude U.S. military asset for exactly 1 minute and 54 seconds. Throughout this terrifyingly precise window of observation, the telemetry data reveals an object defying conventional physics. It maintained a completely rigid, locked altitude despite aggressive crosswinds, cruising through the upper atmosphere with a calm, deliberate stability. As it moved, the object left behind a faint but undeniably distinct thermal bloom trail. A localized superheating of the air that proves this was a physical energy-emitting presence in the sky, not a reflection or an optical illusion. Then, without warning or any deceleration phase, the object underwent an instantaneous burst of kinetic energy, accelerating sharply across the horizon and slicing out of the sensor's maximum tracking frame at a speed that would liquefy a human pilot. Almost immediately after the file's release, mainstream skeptics, internet debunkers, and conventional weapons analysts scrambled to offer a reassuring explanation. They confidently attributed the striking 8-pointed shape to a well-documented optical phenomenon known as thermal blooming or sensor flare. In military aviation, This occurs when an intensely concentrated heat source, such as a burning magnesium illumination flare hanging from a parachute, or a stray hot exhaust plume, completely overwhelms the sensitive cooling elements of an infrared lens. When the digital sensor is blinded by this extreme heat, the light bleeds across the focal plane array, naturally spiking outward along the camera's internal housing matrix into a predictable, mechanical starburst pattern. To the casual observer, the case seems closed, a standard military flare, drifting in the wind, creating a common camera artifact. Yet this tidy, corporate explanation falls apart under scrutiny. It completely ignores the highly specific flight telemetry recorded in the log, and worse, it willfully blinds itself to a massive, undeniable geographical and historical coincidence that the mainstream narrative desperately refuses to address. The 2013 footage wasn't captured over just any random, anonymous desert airspace. It was recorded directly over the blood-soaked heart of the cradle of civilization. The military sensors locked onto this anomaly over the exact geographic coordinates where the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, and Babylonians erected their colossal ziggurats and mapped the cosmos. In the deep, esoteric lore of Mesopotamia, the sun god Shamash, known to the oldest Sumerian texts as Udu, was never viewed as a mere ball of burning gas in the sky. He was the terrifying cosmic judge of both the heavens and the earth, the all-seeing entity who illuminated the dark corners of reality and exposed the hidden secrets of mankind. When ancient stone carvers depicted his divine presence, they did not use a simple circular sun. Instead, they rendered a highly specific, complex geometric machine, a central disk containing a sharp, alternating four-pointed star, interwoven with four undulating, radiating streams of raw energy. This exact configuration is famously immortalized on the tablet of Shamash, discovered in the ruined city of Sippar, where the god is shown seated before this floating, geometric star disk. According to ancient cuneiform translations etched into these clay tablets, Shamash did not reside permanently among humans. He was an atmospheric traveler. The texts explicitly declare that he descended to Earth through a celestial, shimmering gateway known as the Shining Gate, emerging in his glowing chariot to traverse the atmosphere. His primary purpose during these descents was to measure the coordinates of the lands, a phrasing that sounds chillingly close to a modern geographical mapping or surveillance sweep. Some alternative researchers go even further, suggesting that the alternating long and short arms of the Shamash seal were actually primitive attempts to draw a highly advanced, rotating propulsion system or an electromagnetic field radiating from an aerial craft. If we are to blindly accept the mainstream narrative that this modern military video simply shows a piece of drifting trash, a common flare, or a camera glitch, it forces us to confront a deeply unsettling mathematical paradox. It raises a haunting, almost forbidden question. Why is it that our most advanced, trillion-dollar modern tracking systems, when recording anomalies over the ancient ruins of Mesopotamia, are locking onto the exact same hyperspecific, eight-pointed geometric configurations that Sumerian priests witnessed, feared, and carved into sacred clay over 4,000 years ago? Are we looking at a modern optical illusion? Or have our military cameras caught a glimpse of the very same celestial judges that watched over the dawn of human history? The implications of this connection reach far beyond a simple visual oddity. Following the dramatic declassification on May 8, 2026, the public discourse shifted from standard defense analysis to something altogether more profound. Almost immediately after the file was unsealed, lawmakers connected to the congressional oversight committees dropped cryptically provocative hints. Most notably, Representative Anna Paulina Luna sent shockwaves through social media by posting a detailed illustration of the Ophanim, the bizarre, interlocking wheel-end star-shaped celestial beings described with terrifying precision in the biblical Book of Ezekiel, and the ancient fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls. If members of Congress, privy to classified, closed-door intelligence briefings, are turning away from traditional aerospace terminology and looking toward ancient theological texts, we must consider a radically alternative narrative. What if these glowing, geometric starbursts are neither modern military countermeasures nor digital sensor artifacts? What if our cutting-edge thermal sensors have inadvertently intercepted an ongoing, autonomous atmospheric presence that has quietly occupied our skies since the dawn of memory? In alternative archaeological circles, a compelling hypothesis suggests that ancient humanity did not invent their pantheons out of pure imagination. Instead, they were documenting physical, highly advanced, perhaps non-biological surveillance mechanisms or environmental probes left behind by a precursor civilization to monitor the development of Earth. To the Sumerians, these silent, glowing geometric objects patrolling the Middle Eastern skies were localized manifestations of Shamus, enforcing cosmic order from above. Today, to an unmapped drone or a fighter pilot's dashboard, they are simply unidentifiable anomalies. The data is now fully public, and the unedited military footage stands as an undeniable truth. The answers to the greatest mysteries of our modern skies are not locked away in a high-security, underground Pentagon vault. They are hiding in plain sight, preserved on the surface of broken clay tablets and buried under centuries of desert dust. History is not a straight line from primitive to advanced. It is a cycle, and the watchers have never truly left. Thank you for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the hidden truths, forgotten history, and forbidden archaeology that mainstream science refuses to touch, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Until next time, keep looking closer at the shadows of the past. This is Silent Lineage.